take you through a few stretches and yoga poses that will help you clear space in your hips, especially today. So if you spend a lot of time sitting, like many of us do, whether it's sitting at your office chair all day, staring at a computer, whatever it is, this is a really nice way to kind of clear any internal junk that you have built up. So we also know from the research that holding a pose for at least 30 seconds or holding a stretch for at least 30 seconds is really where the magic starts. That's really where the effects start to build. Your increase in mobility and flexibility, as well as your tolerance for pain, increases when you do that. So if you feel some discomfort's okay. If you're feeling like this is pain and you're kind of getting that stop signal from your body, then go ahead and back off. So first and foremost, listen to your body, honor it as it is today. If you're doing this first thing in the morning, you might be a little bit tight, or if you've been sitting for a while, you might be a little bit tight and tense. So we're gonna start with a couple warm-up exercises. This is also something nice to pair with a run or any cardio you might do, or just do as a standalone. So first we're gonna find a comfortable seat. Let's take a big breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Sitting cross-legged, or you can sit on your shins, that would be totally fine too. We're gonna do a few rounds of a seated cat-cow position. So planting the palms either on the shins or right in front of you. Inhale, extend the heart and chest forward. Exhale, curl everything back, chin tucks. A few times like this. Inhale, expand. Exhale, curl everything back. Inhale, finding that seated cow pose. Exhale, curling everything back. One more time, inhale and exhale. Coming back to center, sitting up nice and tall at the crown of the head, lift to the sky for a breath. And exhale, begin to walk the fingertips forward, just taking a nice forward fold. So here, if you can come into that cross-legged position, go ahead and take that. You're gonna feel this stretch probably right away in the hips. I know I do. One side probably more than the other. You can let your nose kind of draw down to the earth a little bit. Gaze can rest on the floor. Take another couple of breaths here. And then begin to walk your hands back to the body. We're gonna switch the cross of the legs. So opposite foot in front, probably that's the one that's more uncomfortable because it's not your habitual way of sitting. And then once again, walking the hands forward, and you might feel this way differently on this side. Perfectly normal. And we'll just sink into this for a couple of breaths. And see if you can keep both sides of your seat grounded to the mat or the floor or wherever you're sitting right now. And then slowly walk the hands back toward the body. From here, you're gonna rock your weight forward, finding a tabletop position. So here in a tabletop position, fingers spread wide, toes can be curled under or tops of the feet rest. And then we're gonna take an inhale, drop the belly, extend the heart and chest. Exhale, curl everything in. So here we are moving in and out of cat-cow now from table position. Extending the heart and chest forward, finding cow. Exhale, curl everything in, cat. Couple more times here. Just warming up the spine, warming up the body for where we're headed next, which is a few hip opening poses. So from here, keeping the hips right where they are, let the tops of the feet come to the mat. Go ahead and walk the hands further out, just beginning to drop or melt the heart and chest. Opening up the heart and chest before we get into those hips here. And then from this pose, which is called puppy pose, we'll just begin to walk the hands a little bit further back, curl the toes under, and lift your hips up and back, finding a downward facing dog. Maybe pedal through the feet, taking a few movements here. And down dog, your ears are between the biceps. Your feet are working to the floor, but the heels never have to touch.
That's just what they're working towards. And then gaze can be to the navel or between the feet. From this downward dog, go ahead and lower the knees back down to the mat. And then from this tabletop position, we're just gonna step the right foot forward between the hands. So you might notice that you need some extra padding underneath that knee. Feel free to grab a towel. You can even fold over your mat another side to get that extra cushion. I'm practicing on a mat and a carpet, so it feels okay for me. But again, honor your body, do what's best for you here. Fingertips can be on the mat. Go ahead and curl those back toes under. We're gonna lift the back knee off the mat. So here we are in a deep, low lunge. And we're just gonna take a couple passes of lowering that back knee and then lifting it back up. Go ahead and drop, lift it back up. Maybe connecting your breath with this movement here. So inhale, you can lift. Exhale, lower. Taking this one more time here. Go ahead and lower that back knee. You can keep the back toes curled under for support. Walk the hands to the hips. And you might actually use your thumb here and kind of tuck it where that hip meets kind of the rest of the pelvis here, and then press everything forward. So I like to actually tuck my thumb in there and then ground the palm of my hand and press that knee forward, looking for that knee to track over the right ankle. And then feel this stretch, maybe in the front hip, but for me, definitely in this back hip. So my right knee is forward, my left leg is back. And just keeping the hands on the hips here. Take a couple of breaths, settle in. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to see about lifting that back foot and grabbing a hold of it with the left hand. So now you're gonna feel the stretch a little bit differently, probably going from that left hip flexor all the way down the quad. And if you want, you can have your right forearm on the right thigh here. And then sinking into it, taking a couple of breaths. And slowly release that. Both hands to the mat, curl the back toes under, lift the back knee. From here, we're gonna walk the hands all the way around to the other side. So now the left foot is forward and the right knee is back. Go ahead and lower that back knee to start. Set up well so that hips are squared to the top of your mat or just squared forward if you're not using a mat. Fingertips to the floor. And now curl the toes under and lift that back knee. And then a few times with the breath, we're gonna move. So go ahead and drop the back knee gently. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Few more times, lift and lower. And next time that back knee comes to the mat, go ahead and keep it there. Walk the hands up towards the hip, maybe taking that same adjustment if you liked it on the other side. So you can take your thumb and kind of hook it by that hip flexor, maybe even taking the palm or the bottom palm of that hand and pressing the flesh forward, encouraging that left knee to track over the left ankle. And then just letting both hands rest on the hips here. You can relax the top of the back foot to the mat. Here for another breath. And then begin to peel that back shin off the mat. See if you can grab that foot for that nice stretch from the right hip flexor through the quad. And I should say that if you can't reach the foot, you can use a strap, you can use a towel, whatever you need to kind of hook it around and grab it. step back into downward facing dog. You can also take that through tabletop position. So downward facing dog, other direction, pedal through the feet here. Go ahead and lower the knees. Have them kind of spread far apart. Big toes come to touch and sink down into a child's pose. So here in child's pose, letting this be an active version of child's pose. So forehead rests on the mat, or if it doesn't reach, you can rest it on a block or maybe a stack of books or a pillow. And then tent the fingertips, so like spider fingers kind of here. So keeping the arms really active. Take 2 breaths there. And then lower the palms and walk the hands back toward the body. And just lower off to one hip. We'll take a pass at a hip opener from a seated position now. So you're gonna go ahead and extend that left leg long, and from here you're gonna take your right leg and cross it over the left, so above the knee, more towards the body. And then palms of the hands can just rest behind you, and I'll show this from a couple of angles here. Then you're just gonna begin to bend that knee. And then the more you bend that knee, you have to keep walking the body closer to it. So I'll show that again on this direction. So that left knee stays foot flexed, long leg. Right knee crosses over, right ankle crosses over onto the thigh. Hands behind you and then bending in. So you might stop right there. I feel a lot right there. I don't really need to go further to get the benefits of this stretch, at least not today. You might feel a little bit more open, so if that's the case, go ahead and walk everything in, including the hands, and then that's your place of pausing and breathing. So we'll hold this for about 5 breaths. So that is a pretty long time if you're taking long, deep breaths. And again, remember that, at least from the physical therapy literature, it suggests that holding a stretch for about 30 seconds is important to get the benefits of what we're trying to do here. So not rushing through it. Pay attention to your breath for 1 to 2 more rounds. And then release. Once you've released that leg, you can let both feet come a little wider and then drop the knees. So this is just windshield wipering the knees back and forth. And we'll take the other side. So first we did left leg long, so now we'll go ahead and move to right leg long. And then cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Go ahead and bend that knee and then find that position that is kind of bringing you to your edge today. Not pushing beyond it. Again, not looking to tap into substantial pain. Not looking to move into that fight, flight, or freeze. But rather we're looking to find a way to relax in the discomfort that comes up. Maybe you walk the hips forward, walk the hands forward, deepen the stretch. And then stick with 5 more breaths here. Maybe close the eyes, soften the jaw. Taking 1 more breath, and then release. And once again on that release, just windshield wiper the knees back and forth a couple times. And from here, taking a seated position, any way you want to get there,
And just letting the palms come together, let them rest at the heart, and pause here. We'll take 5 breaths together to conclude this hip clearing and opening practice. So again, just a few movements, but it can have a really substantial transformation in the hips and opening that area up. So let's take a breath in through the nose, open the mouth. A few more like that, releasing tension on the exhale. Again, imagining that you're cleaning your internal junk drawer like you would clean out your closet or a junk drawer, a physical one. Like every exhale is just blowing through that space. Take one more breath. And bow to yourself in honor of your body and all it can do, in honor of your hips especially today. Namaste.